Seven Days to Die can be a bit of a challenging game, especially if you're new to it. So this is a little bit of a guide to help some people get into the game. First, we're going to talk about the user interface and some crafting. Before you actually load the game, it's important to take a look at some of the options that are available. So first we're going to take a look at some video options. One of the things I recommend doing is to turn your tree quality on high. If you do not do that, then trees can sometimes be mistaken for buildings off in the distance. The other thing I want to recommend that you do is turn your field of view all the way up. And I'm just going to give you guys an example of what it might look like if you don't do that. So here's a scene at the standard default field of view. And this is maximum field of view, and you can see that there's quite a bit of difference. I'll put up a side-by-side comparison here. You can see much more of the house and a lot more of the outside scene. Just a point of fact at this scene here, I have not moved the character at all. This is standing in the exact same spot, not moving, just changing the field of view. I also want to talk about some control settings. You'll notice that in the controls there's a push to talk button that you can set, which allows for a voice over IP in-game voice chat if you have a microphone. It's a proximity chat, so it doesn't broadcast the entire server. You can change the volume of that in the audio settings. The range on it is pretty decent. It's definitely worthwhile, especially if you don't have TeamSpeak or any other chat program, so you can keep tabs with your friends. Next thing I want to kind of illustrate is the map. So take a look at the map settings here. On the right hand side you've got a list of people that would be in the server, and you can send them a friend request. Just click on the name and click invite. And if somebody sent you a friend request, it'll show up right here, and you can click on their name and either accept it or of course you can decline it. Once they're your friends though, they show up in your My Friends list, and you can scroll the list up and down using the scroll wheel on your mouse. You'll also note that on the map you've got where you're located, obviously, and this little white house indicates that that's where I put my sleeping bag, so that's my home. In the bottom left hand corner you've got a grid here, and that shows where your mouse is located. It gives you certain coordinates. North, south, east, west is important. It's based off of the 00 grid mark that's on the map. So you see right here we're at 00, and I'm in the northeastern quadrant of the map with my mouse, and then I'll move into the southeastern quadrant, southwestern quadrant, and northwestern quadrant, just depending on where 00 is on the map. And 00 is always where the city hub is going to be, so there's always going to be a city at 00. You'll also note that there's a red flag here. And in the top right it says the target distance is 1.1 kilometers. What that means is that from that red flag to my current position is 1.1 kilometers. In order to set the red flag, all you have to do is on the map, find where you want to go, and just basically right click. So let's say over here, right click, set waypoint. It moves the red flag and changes the target distance to 1.5 kilometers from my current position. So I'll move it again so you guys can see. There, it tells you basically how far away you are, and your current position is located in the top left hand corner, and you'll see that as part of the map. You'll also see that there's a compass on the bottom of the screen, which will indicate where you're going, what direction you're heading, and where your waypoints are, and where your home sleeping bag is. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about crafting. Key thing here is to remember that shift clicking an item on your craft menu will use all available materials to craft everything, and if you hold down shift and right click, it cuts the materials in half like so. So holding down shift and clicking uses all materials. Shift right click will cut whatever stack you're clicking on in half, and that's how you can quickly craft some things with shift and left click. Furthermore, if you're in you're looking at inventory, you can shift click to pull stuff from inventory and or back into the inventory from the chest. So you can move things back and forth easily. Again, shift right click like so will cut the stack in half, and shift right click will help you sort of manage your inventory faster. And that's how you move things from inventory and back and forth relatively quickly. Next, talking about breaking down items of the same type. So we've got a lot of different brass here, but if we can put it all in the inventory at one time, scrap it down, and it will scrap it all down at once instead of doing each one individually one at a time. It's really handy if you have a lot of iron or a lot of stuff that you just don't really need in your inventory and you want to break it down. You can just add it all into your crafting menu at once, and you'll see I've only got one scrap iron, but if I add all that stuff in and hit craft, and there, now I have 19 scrap iron. Next, just a little tip about the city. If you go into the city and you find a high-rise apartment building, if you go all the way to the top of the apartment building, the very top floor, you will find an apartment that looks like this, and the apartment will have a ammunitions crate and a gun safe in it. You just have to break through a little bit more secure door, and there you go. I'll speed up the video here so you can see really quickly me taking a look at the goods that I got here and breaking into the gun safe really quickly. The other thing I want to talk about is if you do have weapons and components, you can break down the weapons and items and make your weapons better. And the other benefit of doing this is you can unload a gun. So you see right here I've got 5 9mm ammo bullets, and I took this weapon that I found and I put it in this section. You'll notice now I've got 20 bullets, so I unloaded the gun. And if I wanted to, if I wanted to take individual parts out of this pistol and make another pistol better, I could do that. Now I've already got a pretty good gun, so obviously I'm not going to do that here. So I'm just going to scrap this pistol, and I'll show you again with the shotgun here. Basically, you take the shotgun, you'll see I've got 196 shots. Put it in here. Now I've got 204, so I unloaded the gun. I don't need a better shot. I've got a better shotgun already, so I don't need to use that. So just an example of what I would do if I did have a pistol part. Just basically just craft it as per normal. You can take the parts. You can take it apart like that. Now we're going to take a look at how to use a forge and how to use a campfire. So the important thing here, obviously, is we're going to need some things to melt down. I am going to make an iron ingot mold using clay. You can find clay throughout the map. They're little brown areas. They're not hard to find at all. You just make clay, and you make an ingot like that. Once you have the ingot, you can add it to your forge, and you'll see here that I've got some iron ore. And note that there's a timer here on the right hand side. I need to add enough fuel to that forge to allow for that time to kind of add up, and I'm just being attacked by a bee here, so I'm going to deal with that. But yeah, take a look. You can right click and eat things right out of the inventory that you're looking at. But anyways, back to the forge. Once you notice the timer on the lower right hand corner here, it's at 25 minutes, and I've got 23 minutes worth of wood. So if I wanted to add that to the full 25 minutes, I just throw a little piece of wood there. Wood logs gives you 3 minutes, wood frames gives you about 2 minutes, and I can use that to kind of figure out how much fuel I'm going to need to make that complete. Now, it's nighttime in the city, I'm getting attacked, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to show you guys how to cook a fire. So first you need a pot, and of course a campfire. We're going to add the meat and some water. And I always use water to boil my meat, because if you do that, then, well, I'll show you in just a second here. Make sure you click cook. If you don't click cook, then you're just going to burn your fuel and nothing's actually going to cook. That's a huge thing that a lot of people forget to do, so don't forget to hit cook. Once it's all finished, I'll show you guys real quickly. The reason why I never drink water, I only ever use it to cook with, is to boil meat, because you'll notice that you get hunger as well as an increase in thirst as well. Whereas if you were to grill the meat, then you would actually lose thirst. I drink goldenrod tea. That's a huge important tip, because it adds wellness to you as opposed to just thirst, because water will only add just thirst. Next thing here, and we're underneath my base now. This is my main base that I created. And I've got this underground area where I actually, in my main base, is where I keep my forges and all my campfires. So the reason why I do that is because of something called a heat map. A heat map is something that that if you generate a lot of heat, whether it's through forges and fires, or eventually down the road you might get something that creates explosions, gunfire, auger usage or chainsaw usage, all those things add to heat map, which draws these guys into wherever the heat map or wherever the heat is being generated. So I keep my forges and my campfires away from the main area of my base, because these guys, these spider zombies, will be drawn in to where the campfires are. So now what I'll do is I'll kind of have the campfires far away, and then that way I can get over here and attack from far enough away that they really don't see me. I can shoot them, they might not necessarily see me, and I can sort of take care of business. And that's one of the strategies you can use to keep your base sort of a little more secure, and that's all about the heat map. So anything that, including shotgun, any kind of weapon fire, forge usage or campfire usage, increase your heat map, which draws in the spider zombies, which will call a horde if they see you. Next thing I want to talk about is the clothing and wellness. So you'll see here that I've got a bunch of clothing attached that actually adds armor and defense to my character, as well as the actual armor. You want to make sure that those are in good repair. Keep an eye on that mining helmet, because mining helmets, for some reason, they lose integrity pretty quickly, so you might want to make sure you take a look at that every now and then, make sure it's repaired up. The other thing you want to take a look at in this screen is wellness. So you'll see here that my wellness is 191 of 200. Wellness is what gives you more stamina, more health. So you want to make sure that you're increasing your wellness as much as possible by eating meat, by eating vitamins as soon as you get them, by drinking goldenrod tea, those types of things. Make sure that you're always fed. Try not to get hit by zombies, because that'll bring your wellness down. If you get hit by a zombie and you get infected, you would want to take antibiotics to clear the infection, but also it's a good idea to just take antibiotics if you have them to spare, because they will constantly be increasing your wellness over time. So if you have more than 2 or 3 antibiotics on hand, just take them. Make sure, like, it's always good to have 2 or 3 backup, but always be on antibiotics until your wellness is at 200, and you'll go up in wellness a lot faster, which will increase, again, your stamina and your health. So now I'm going to show you guys how to repair your tools. First you need an iron ingot, and from the iron ingot you break it down to forged iron, then short pipes, and then metal strips. I've sped up the video there so you can kind of not have to wait for me to craft it, but you'll see as I hover the mouse over top of the tools, it has a little section that says repair item, and the majority of them are metal strips for a lot of your tools, and the mining helmet. So you want to keep these in good repair. So you use metal strips and you basically put them in your inventory like this, and basically that's how you repair tools without having to, build new ones or find new ones all the time. And same kind of idea goes for weapons. I'll show you guys how to make a weapons repair kit. You need oil and cloth and, again, metal strips to make weapon repair kits. So basically I'm just getting my materials ready here, and getting 15 because I have 15 oil, and so kind of put everything together, and bring up the inventory screen, go to crafting, type in repair kit in the top left hand corner, which will bring up your weapon repair kit. Hold down shift, left click. We'll use all available materials that to make it. I'll speed up the video so we're not waiting. And once you have your repair kits ready to go, then you just put the weapon that you want to repair in the kit like this, hit craft, and you'll see that my shotgun is repaired. Now I'll do the same thing to my magnum, and that's it. That's how you repair weapons. Eventually you will find other ammo types or create other ammo types, and in order to load them into your weapon you have to right click, and you'll see where it says load, and then you select the ammo type that you're going to be loading, and you can see in the lower right hand corner that the ammo is actually changed. So you can see the different types of shotgun ammo that I have got loaded in my shotgun right now, and you would do the same thing for different arrow types as well as for guns. Next I want to show you guys how to basically attach a flashlight onto your weapon. All you basically do is, well, if you press F and you have a a mining hat on, it'll shine a light, but you can attach a much brighter light to a gun if you find one. Usually they're in tree stumps, and that's how you attach a flashlight to a gun.